she whispered, "Please don't leave me alone tonight." Her voice was so quiet, I almost didn't hear it over the sound of the rain hammering against the window. I stared at her, my heart sinking into my chest. "But I have nowhere to go." The words came out before I could stop them. And just like that, the secret I'd been hiding for 2 months spilled into the space between us. I watched her face change. Not with disgust, not with pity, but with something I hadn't seen in so long, I'd almost forgotten what it looked like. Understanding. Let me go back. Let me tell you how I ended up in that moment. My name is Daniel, 29 years old, college graduate, former marketing analyst. And for the past 63 days, I'd been living out of my 2011 Honda Civic. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I had a plan. I had savings. I had a future. But life has a way of unraveling everything you thought was secure. First, it was the layoffs. My entire department gone in a single afternoon. Then it was the medical bills. My mother's emergency surgery. Insurance covered some of it, but not enough. Never enough. Savings disappeared. Rent became impossible. And before I knew it, I was choosing between keeping my apartment or helping my mum recover. I chose her, and I'd make that choice again every single time. But no one tells you how fast you can fall, how quickly you go from temporary setback to "this is my life now." I parked in different lots every night, gym parking lots, shopping centers. Once I even slept outside a police station because I thought it would be safer. During the day, I kept up appearances. I went to the library, used their Wi-Fi, applied for jobs, showered at the community center. I became invisible. Just another guy at a coffee shop with a laptop. No one knew, especially not her. Her name was Sarah. I met her at the Riverside Community Center, where I volunteered on weekends. It was the one thing that kept me sane, feeling like I still had something to give, even when I had nothing. She volunteered there too, in the children's reading program. The first time I saw her, she was sitting cross-legged on a foam mat, surrounded by 6 kids, reading Where the Wild Things Are with different voices for every character. The kids were mesmerized. So was I. She had this warmth about her, not the performative kind, the real kind. The kind that made you feel like maybe the world wasn't so cold after all. We started talking during breaks, small talk at first books. Favorite childhood memories, why we volunteered. She told me she was a social worker, that she'd seen too much pain in her job, and volunteering with kids reminded her why she started in the first place. I told her I used to work in marketing, that I was between jobs. I didn't tell her the rest. Over the weeks, we became friends. She'd text me articles she thought I'd like. I'd send her terrible puns that made her laugh. And slowly, dangerously, I started to feel something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. But hope is a cruel thing when you're living in your car, because the more I cared about her, the more terrified I became that she'd find out the truth. It was a Tuesday night, November, the kind of cold that gets into your bones and stays there. I'd just finished my shift at the day labor site unloading trucks for cash under the table. My back ached. My hands were raw. I was heading to my usual spot behind the grocery store when my phone buzzed. Sarah, hey, are you free tonight? I know it's last minute. My heart did that stupid thing where it speeds up for no reason. Me, yeah, what's up? Sarah, can you come over? I really need to talk to someone. There was something in those words, something urgent. Me, of course. Send me your address. 20 minutes later, I pulled up to a small duplex in a quiet neighborhood, the kind of place with flower pots on the porch and a porch swing that creaked in the wind. I knocked. The door opened almost immediately, and that's when I saw her face. Her eyes were red, swollen, like she'd been crying for hours. Sarah, what happened? She tried to smile, failed. Come in, please. Her apartment was small but cozy, warm lighting, bookshelves covering an entire wall. A tabby cat curled up on the couch. She made tea with shaking hands. We sat across from each other at her kitchen table, and for a long moment, neither of us spoke. I'm sorry for calling you like this, she finally said. I didn't know who else to talk to. You don't have to apologize. What's going on? She took a breath, let it out slowly. I got some news today about my brother. I knew she had a younger brother. She'd mentioned him once struggling with addiction, in and out of rehab. He relapsed, she continued, her voice breaking. They found him unconscious in a park. He's in the hospital now, but she couldn't finish the sentence. I reached across the table and took her hand. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I tried so hard to help him, she whispered. I did everything I could, and it still wasn't enough. You can't save people who aren't ready to be saved. That doesn't mean you failed. She looked at me with those tear-filled eyes. How do you do that? Do what? Always know the right thing to say, I almost laughed. If she only knew how wrong I was about everything else in my life. We talked for hours. She told me about her brother's childhood, about the accident that started his pain, about the guilt she carried. I listened, and somewhere in that conversation, something shifted. The walls I'd built around myself started to crack around midnight. The rain started, not a drizzle, a downpour. Thunder rolled across the sky like a freight train. Sarah glanced toward the window, then back at me. Daniel, you're not driving home in this, are you? My stomach dropped. I'll be fine. No. Her voice was firm. It's not safe. You can stay here tonight. Panic clawed at my throat. Sarah, please. Her hand was still in mine. I don't want to be alone tonight. And there it was. The moment I'd been dreading. Because how do you explain to someone who just invited you into their home that you don't have a home to go back to? How do you tell someone who sees you as stable and dependable that you've been lying by omission for 2 months? Okay, I heard myself say. She smiled small, but genuine. Thank you. She stood up. I'll get you some blankets for the couch. Sarah, wait. She turned. And I knew I had to tell her, because if I didn't, this moment would haunt me forever. There's something you need to know. She sat back down, concern flickering across her face. What is it? I couldn't look at her. I stared at my hands instead. When you said I could stay here tonight, you said I shouldn't drive home in the rain. Yeah, the thing is, my voice cracked. I don't have a home to drive to. Silence. What do you mean? I forced myself to look at her. I've been living in my car for 2 months. The words hung in the air like smoke. Her expression didn't change immediately. She was processing, trying to understand. You've been homeless. I lost my job. My mum got sick. I couldn't afford both rent and her medical bills, so I chose her. And then everything just collapsed. Daniel, I didn't tell you because I was ashamed, because I didn't want you to see me differently, because I stopped. She was crying again, but not for her brother this time. For me, why didn't you tell me? Her voice was so soft it broke me. Because I didn't want to be a burden. Because I didn't want to be someone you pitied. Pity. She shook her head. Daniel, you've been showing up every week to volunteer with kids. You've been there for me every time I needed someone to talk to. You've been carrying all of this, and you still showed up for other people. I didn't know what else to do. She stood up, walked around the table, and then she did something I didn't expect. She hugged me. Not a polite hug, a real one. The kind that says, I see you. I see all of you. You're not going back to your car tonight, she whispered, and you're not going back tomorrow either. I pulled away, Sarah. I can't. Yes, you can. I have a guest room. It's small, but it's yours. For as long as you need it. I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking. I'm offering. Why? She looked at me like the answer was obvious. Because you would do the same for me. The next few weeks were strange. I wasn't used to having a routine, a place to shower without rushing, a bed that didn't leave me with a stiff neck. Sarah didn't treat me like a charity case. She treated me like a roommate. We split groceries, took turns cooking, watched bad reality TV, and argued about which contestant was the villain. She helped me update my resume, drove me to interviews, celebrated when I got a call back. And slowly, I started to believe that maybe, just maybe, I could rebuild. Her brother got out of the hospital and went back to rehab. This time, he stayed. Sarah visited him every week, and every week she came home a little lighter. One evening, about a month after I moved in, we were sitting on her couch. The cat was purring between us. Daniel, yeah, I need to tell you something. My chest tightened. Okay, that night when I asked you to stay, I wasn't just asking because of the rain. What do you mean? She looked at me, really looked at me. I was scared of being alone with my thoughts, scared of losing my brother, scared of everything. Sarah, and you being here, it saved me, just like I hope I'm helping save you. I didn't know what to say, so I just took her hand. You did save me, she smiled. That real warm smile I'd fallen 4 months ago. Then I guess we saved each other. 2 months later, I got the job. Marketing coordinator at a nonprofit. It wasn't glamorous, but it was stable. It was a start. I moved into my own apartment a few weeks after that. Small studio, but it was mine. Sarah helped me move in. We carried boxes up 3 flights of stairs and collapsed on the floor, laughing and out of breath. You did it, she said. We did it. She nodded. Yeah, we did. I still volunteer at the community center every weekend. So does Sarah. And sometimes, when I'm sitting there reading to kids, I think about that night, The night I almost didn't tell her the truth. The night I almost let shame keep me trapped. The night she whispered, "Please don't leave me alone tonight." And I confessed, "But I have nowhere to go, because here's what I learned. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. And sometimes the people we think we deburden are the ones who've been waiting to help us all along. We all have battles no one sees, and we all need someone to remind us that we're not alone. So if you're struggling, if you're hiding something because you're afraid of being judged, please find someone you trust and tell them the truth. Because I promise you, you are not a burden. You are not too much. You are worthy of help. You are worthy of love. And you are worthy of a place to call home.